What's going on, Overbuddies? I'm Chris Williams, and this is Overblood Does E3 Day 2. Today we're going to be covering everything Microsoft, or, at least the stuff that caught my attention and yours. Let's get it started. Alright, so the conference starts off with Halo 5, and first things I noticed, the game looks great, but it does play a little slower. I'm not sure if that's just the level they chose, or if maybe that's just the direction they're going, because I know that the multiplayer they showed back, a few months ago actually looked really fast, so I kind of imagine it's just the level they chose. Maybe they just didn't want to spoil too much of the game. But one thing I did like a lot they showed is sort of this new squad control you have, where you're just directing your squad members to go, go over here, attack this enemy, flank them over here. I like that kind of stuff. It looked really cool. Let's see, the multiplayer they showed, I was weird. So they start discussing co-op, but then suddenly they're like, also we've got this new mode called Warzone, and it's player versus player, and then it just ended, and I'm like, what is that? It just looked like classic Halo stuff. I'm not sure what that was, but I'm sure they'll explain it later on, in the week or tonight, whatever, but it just seemed weird. I didn't understand what was going on. It kind of seemed pointless, actually. But, like I said, it's Halo 5. It looks good. I'm sure it will play good. I'm sure people will enjoy it good. The three goods. So, yeah, it's Halo. Need I say more? Alright, so the next thing that happened in the conference was backwards compatibility was announced for the Xbox One, which at first sounds awesome, right? The crowd's freaking out. I'm even freaking out. I don't even own an Xbox One. I went, that's really cool. But then I started to think about it, like, well, Phil Spencer is on stage and he says, well, the engineers, we didn't think we could do it, right? We didn't think we could make it happen, but we made it happen. And I don't know that I believe that. I just don't know, right? It's like, for the past year and a half, Xbox One and PlayStation have sold consumers HD ports of their old games, making people rebuy games. And then tonight, or today rather, they just go, alright, hey, remember how we said this couldn't be backwards compatible? Well, actually, we figured it out and it is, so boom, there you go. And it frustrates me, right, like, that has happened, but at the same time, like, it's really cool. Like, if you want to go back and play old games, now you can. I don't know that many people do to begin with, but now you can. Now they're just there for you to play. But at the same time, like, I thought it was sort of weird because, like, later on in the conference, they announced that Gears of War 1 is coming. It's kind of a worst-kept secret in the room. Everyone knew it was coming, but so they're, HD, 1080p, whatever, coming to, Xbox One. Now, my question is, why? Why would I buy it? What's the benefit of buying it other than the fact that it looks good? I guess multiplayer, is there now, or it's backup, whatever. But I don't know, like, if I can just play the 360 version, why would I waste my time buying this HD port? It's the same thing with, like, PlayStation, right? When people are now like, oh, PlayStation needs to do backwards compatibility, and I tell people, like, if you have a problem with, like, spending $60 on an HD version of Uncharted, for instance, like, well, don't buy it. Like, PlayStation has PlayStation Now, which, yes, can be pricey and can be a problem, but you can just spend, $9 and play Uncharted 1 on your PS4 instead of spending $60 for, all three games. You can spend $27 on all three games, get the same experience, and you're done. So I just, the backwards compatible thing, like I said, I don't really care because I just don't go back and play that many old games, but, and I don't know, it's a cool thing, right? If you're excited for it, then great. If you're not excited for it like me, whatever, but cool. I don't know what else to say. Alright, now I don't want to sound like I'm being really negative about this conference, because actually it was a really good conference, but Dark Souls 3. Now, they announced Dark Souls 3, and it's coming, it's not an Xbox exclusive or anything, it's coming to all the platforms, but they announced the date. It's coming early 2016. We just had Dark Souls and Bloodborne HD pop up on the current consoles. Like, do we really need more Dark Souls? Do we really need it that fast? I don't... quite frankly, I'm just blood burned out on all these games, right? I mean, you just gotta give me some time here. Let me relax. Let me cool down. I'm still trying to discover all of the secrets in Bloodborne, and now you're telling me, hey, 6 months from now, you've got another game coming out potentially, right? Like, I mean, you imagine it's gonna try and hit that March window like Bloodborne did, which is kind of a great time for those games to come out. But I just, there was no gameplay. So obviously, I mean, it looks like they're a ways away from showing it, but I know Microsoft said they want to show more stuff at Gamescom. They want to show a lot of stuff there, so potentially we're going to see more Dark Souls. But yeah, I just don't know that people need more. I worry that series and even that genre, since they're kind of the only people really pushing the genre, I worry that is just going to, people are going to get tired. People are going to stop playing it, and with the success of Bloodborne and this new IP and new franchise, I worry that just the whole thing's about to crumble, just gonna fall down. Let's slow it. Let's calm down here. Let's slow it down a little bit. Maybe 2 years from now, right? They're very much on like a Borderlands sort of thing here, where there's just a game. It feels like every time I turn around, there's a new game like this. Let's just slow it down. Let's just relax. It takes like 200 hours to beat your games here. Maybe don't release one every year. It's just a thought. Okay, now one of the other things I want to talk about really fast is the fact that Todd Howard showed up. Todd Howard comes out on stage and then he's like, oh, hey, Fallout 4, remember that thing I talked about last night? Well, I'm going to talk about it some more. And then it's just like, he goes on to say like, oh yeah, mods that are available on PC will be available on Xbox One. I wonder how they're going to kind of, because that's a really cool feature, and instantly makes the Xbox One version of Fallout 4 like the more dominant, the more like the prettier package. But I wonder how you're gonna make that work, because some mods on the PC like are made to push the hardware, and I wonder how you do that to where like you're not breaking people's Xbox Ones, you're not causing their Xbox Ones to crash because they can't run these mods. Like I wonder if there's going to be like maybe a category that, or a program that checks and says this mod is Xbox One compatible, things like that. I wonder what goes into making a mod now for a console, because yes, an Xbox One is essentially a computer, but I imagine like making a mod for Fallout 4 on PC and then that mod working on Xbox One. I have to imagine that they're very different things. I mean, I'm no scientist. I'm not even a doctor, but I don't know how these things work, right? I'm not a magician, but I imagine that, like, I just imagine they're difficult to do, and I'm curious to see how they implement that. I'm also, curious to see what Sony, if they have any sort of hit back with this or not, because quite frankly, I mean, while some of these games that they announced didn't really do much for me, I don't own the consoles, but a lot of the stuff they announced looked really cool. A lot of great, another thing I liked a lot was the indie stuff. The indie stuff looked great. They announced a lot of cool stuff. Let me go to my notes here. Some of the things they announced were, Tacoma from, the Gone Home team. Basically, you're like on a space station alone with like an AI partner, like an actual AI partner. Looks cool, it looks like Gone Home in space, which isn't a bad thing. I didn't get a chance to play Gone Home, but definitely got a lot of praise. I think another one, Ashen, looked really cool, sort of like this open world survival type game. I know in the actual trailer, it's two characters sort of running through like a sewer or a cave, and monsters show up, kill one of the characters, another character is about to die, somehow she gets out of the cave, the next thing you know, flying whale dragon is, I don't know, it looked cool though. I like the art style too, like all the characters don't have faces in that trailer. It's really, really interesting. Cuphead also showed up. Cuphead, they came out, were like, oh, we're Xbox exclusive. So that one was like, whoa, this game looks super cool, and I really wish I could play it. I don't know, it might end up being like a Shovel Knight game though, where I want to play it, but I have a feeling I wouldn't be any good at it. So I don't know that I would actually buy it, but I can't wait to see Let's Plays of it and things like that. It looks really, really cool. Alright, the last two things I want to talk about are Gears of War. They announced Gears of War 4. I thought the gameplay looked really cool. It was very, had like sort of a Resident Evil 4 type vibe mixed in with, that Gears gameplay. It was very dark, so I couldn't see, everything they showed. I have seen some other people complain about that type of stuff, but, yeah, it was very very atmospheric. It was very dark, very creepy, monsters sort of roaming around. 2 new characters, or at least characters I'm not familiar with, but yeah, and the world seems interesting. New monster types it looked like. I could be wrong. I'm not a Gears expert or anything, but yeah, I mean, it looked really cool. I'm definitely excited to see more of that game. I like the fact that too it seemed less like brotastic from the previous 3. The characters seemed a little bit more grounded, a little bit more interesting, or at least from an outside perspective. I'd like to see more of those characters and learn just who they are. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was really cool. Another thing too that I just blew me away. The moment that I think won everyone over at the Xbox One conference was when they show up with the HoloLens. At first, I'm like, oh, okay, HoloLens, let's hear about HoloLens, whatever. And then the people from Mojang come out, and there's a girl there, and she's like, all right, so we're going to have an exclusive version, like the HoloLens is going to have its own version of Minecraft. I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. Seems like, Minecraft and HoloLens are going to be sort of teamed up here to try and sell HoloLens, especially to, kids. And at first, the guy is playing the HoloLens Minecraft on a wall. It doesn't look anything special. I'm like, well, I don't understand. Other than the fact that he's playing a game on a wall and doesn't need a TV, like, I don't really get the point of it. And then suddenly, he stands up, walks over to a table, and then he says, game start, or game generate, whatever he says. And the Minecraft world actually sort of creates itself onto the table. And then the city that he's built, it builds up into like an actual 3D model, and he's almost like you're a child again, watching, playing with like your dollhouse or something, right? And you're just able to like really look in, and suddenly like the imagination you needed as a kid to pretend that like you're Polly Playhouse or whatever, right? 90s reference. But like you don't need to pretend like your toys are moving anymore, because he's just straight up watching as these characters are moving around. Like, he's watching the girl who's in his Minecraft world with him. He's watching her actually move around the actual world, and it was just incredible to watch. He was able to like actually bend over and look through the window and see what's going on in the window. And then at one point he actually lifts the entire city, like the actual world. He lifts it up, and then he can see what's underneath the town, and be like, oh, there's a dungeon here. Oh, there's these minerals. Like, it was so interesting and such a cool thing. And I'm curious to see what people, like, what everyone else thinks about this, because from my standpoint, I immediately went, well, I think VR is cool and could do a lot of cool things, but the question is just what is the future of HoloLens, and what cool things can HoloLens do outside of Minecraft? That's the other thing I need to see, because yes, showing HoloLens looks cool, but like, you're showing HoloLens with Minecraft looks cool, but like, I need to see what else that device can do. What other games can be implemented with it, or is it a one-trick pony that, much like, the Wii with Wii Sports, and I think Kinect had a cool sports game as well. Like, after that, is there nothing else you can do with it, right? And I need to see that kind of thing to know if it's actually something that I would even be interested in buying. Alright, now before I close out this video, you've heard what I thought about Microsoft's conference, but what about the Overbuddies? Remember, these videos are all about the community, so let's hear just what that community thought. Sam Green, Grain, whatever, Sam said Microsoft knocked it out of the park, one of their best conferences to date. Joseph Sam Altanos Wargo, Microsoft hasn't even gotten to Rare yet, and I need a change of pants. Help! Ridiculous. John Alexander Walsh said, this Gears looks like a cross between The Last of Us and Resident Evil, and I agree, it looks awesome. Let's see, Adam Clark said Smart Glass, Kinect, and now the next expensive innovation that Microsoft will abandon, HoloLens. Ooh, a lot of salt. Adam Clark always dishing out that salt. The Salt Man, as we call him in the group. Don't call him that at all. Luis E. Acavocado. I want that HoloLens now. Didn't do a release date. I realized. I'm curious when that actually comes out. Let's see. Billy Thiex. The new Rare game looks like hot garbage. And then, of course, Caleb Zurakowski responded by telling him that he spelled Funtime wrong. You guys are crazy. Let's see. Evan Ford said, I wasn't exactly blown away by the Xbox press conference. I thought Recore, which is a indie game they showed off, looks like fun. Tomb Raider, which they did show a lot of, looks great. And Fallout 4 looks amazing, but everything wasn't all that impressive. And lastly, my correspondent on the scene, you don't know that that's not true either, Cassie Hassey. She said, and I quote, so I'm pretty happy, a lot of exciting projects, and the console features look great. The HoloLens, if it works that well, is a great piece of tech, and backwards compatibility looks like it's being done right. She also said she's excited for the slew of indie titles being brought to the console, the prospect of modding, and Rare's new game. Recore and Tomb Raider also look great, she said. So, pretty cool, right? Overall, the community, with the exception, that's going to happen, right? Not everyone's going to enjoy everything, but with the exception of a couple that I read off, everyone seems to be pretty up on the Microsoft conference. I'm curious to see. We've got EA and Ubisoft coming up later, and then Sony's press conference tonight. Remember, if at any point you want to make sure that your comment gets put in the video, or even if you want to send me a video yourself, just a minute or shorter, of just your comments on the conference, let me know. Let's see, you can email me at chriscontinues@gmail.com. You think I'd know how to do this by now. Yeah, so just each individual conference. Next video I'm going to do the EA and Ubisoft conference together in one video, just because they're so close together in time. So if you want to send me your opinion on that, just let me know. Send me an email, like I said, or message me on Facebook, just Christopher Williams. All right, guys, I will see you later.